There is a moment, late at night, when the world is quiet. Your phone screen goes dark. The room is still. No noise, no distraction. And suddenly, your mind begins to whisper. What if something goes wrong? What if I fail? What if I lose control? Your chest tightens a little. Nothing dangerous is happening. No threat, no emergency. Yet your heart beats faster, as if you were standing on the edge of a cliff. Why? Why can the human mind create fear even when there is nothing to fear? Think about it. A presentation at work, a medical test result, an unanswered message, walking alone at night, stepping onto an airplane. Different situations, same feeling. That quiet, creeping sensation in your chest. Fear. But here's the strange thing. Fear was never meant to control your life. It was meant to save it. For thousands of years, fear was humanity's greatest protector. When our ancestors heard a branch snap in the forest, fear made them alert. When they saw glowing eyes in the dark, fear made them run. Without fear, we wouldn't be here today. But something changed. The dangers of modern life are rarely lions or predators. They are invisible. Deadlines, judgment, uncertainty, failure. And our ancient fear system, the one designed for survival, now reacts to emails, meetings, and social expectations. The result? Millions of people live in a constant state of alarm, not because danger is real, but because their mind believes it might be. And this is where the real story begins, because understanding fear changes everything. Chapter 1. Fear, the body's emergency alarm. Imagine a man named Daniel. It's Monday morning. He's standing outside a meeting room. Inside, 12 colleagues are waiting. In 5 minutes, he has to present a report. His hands are slightly damp. His breathing is shallow. His stomach twists. Now pause. Nothing dangerous is happening. No one is attacking him. No disaster is unfolding. Yet his body is reacting as if it's under threat. His heart rate climbs. His muscles tense. His brain floods with warning signals. This reaction has a name: the fear response. When the brain senses danger, it activates an internal alarm system. Adrenaline surges, blood rushes to the muscles. The body prepares for two ancient options: fight or run. Thousands of years ago, this response saved lives. But in Daniel's case, there is no predator, only people. Yet his brain cannot tell the difference between a tiger in the jungle and 12 silent faces staring across a conference table. To the nervous system, both situations trigger the same question: am I safe? If the answer feels uncertain, fear takes over. But fear itself is not the enemy. Fear is simply a signal, a message, a biological alarm saying, pay attention, something matters here. In small doses, fear sharpens us. It improves performance. It heightens awareness. Athletes feel it before competition. Actors feel it before stepping on stage. Students feel it before an exam. This kind of fear is natural, healthy, even useful. The real problem begins when fear stops being temporary and becomes constant, when the alarm never turns off. Chapter 2. When fear becomes a cage. Now imagine another story. Sarah is sitting in her car outside a supermarket. She's been there for 10 minutes. The engine is off. Her hands grip the steering wheel. She wants to go inside, but she can't. Not because the store is closed, not because something bad happened, but because her mind keeps replaying a terrifying thought. What if I panic in there? A few months earlier, Sarah experienced her first panic attack in a crowded store. Her heart raced, her vision blurred. She felt like she might faint. It lasted only minutes, but the memory stayed. And now, her brain has learned something dangerous. It has learned avoidance. The brain's logic becomes simple. Supermarket equals panic. So it whispers a suggestion: don't go. At first, avoidance feels like relief. Sarah drives away. Her breathing slows. The fear disappears. But something else happens. Her brain receives a powerful message. Avoiding the store saved me. So next time, the fear returns faster, stronger. Soon, it's not just supermarkets. Crowded streets, elevators, restaurants. Each avoided place strengthens the fear. And slowly, quietly, life begins to shrink. This is how fear builds its cage, not through danger, but through escape. The more we run from fear, the larger it grows. And the cruel irony is this: the very thing that feels like protection is often what keeps fear alive. But there is good news, because fear, no matter how powerful it feels, follows patterns, patterns that can be understood, patterns that can be changed. And once you see those patterns clearly, something extraordinary happens. Fear stops feeling like a mysterious force and starts revealing the path to freedom. But that path requires one uncomfortable truth. The way out of fear is not by avoiding it. It is by facing it. And in the next part of this journey, we'll uncover how the mind can retrain its fear system and why the smallest acts of courage can slowly dismantle even the strongest anxieties.
Let me ask you something. When was the last time you avoided something just to feel a little calmer? Maybe you delayed sending an important email. Maybe you chose the stairs instead of the elevator because it felt safer. Maybe you checked your phone again, just to make sure nothing bad had happened. It seemed small, almost harmless. But here's the uncomfortable question. What if those tiny moments of relief are secretly training your fear to grow stronger? Because fear does not survive on danger alone. It survives on repetition, and the mind learns incredibly fast. Chapter 3. The Fear Loop. Picture the brain as a highly sensitive smoke alarm. Its job is simple: detect danger, sound the alarm, protect you. But imagine if that smoke alarm started reacting to burnt toast, steam from the shower, even a candle. The alarm would go off constantly. Annoying, yes, but more importantly, confusing. You'd start believing something must be wrong all the time. This is exactly how anxiety works. The brain misinterprets harmless signals as threats: a fast heartbeat, a crowded space, a moment of uncertainty, and instantly the alarm rings. Now, here's where the fear loop begins. Step 1. A trigger appears. Maybe it's a crowded subway. Maybe it's speaking in front of people. Maybe it's a strange sensation in your body. Your brain whispers, danger. Step 2. The body reacts. Your breathing changes, your chest tightens, your mind fills with what-if scenarios. Now the brain interprets those physical sensations as proof. See, something is wrong. Step 3. You escape. You leave the room, you cancel the event, you avoid the situation completely. And suddenly, relief. Your heart slows down, your breathing returns to normal. Everything feels safe again. But the brain is watching carefully, and it draws a powerful conclusion. Escaping worked. which means the next time the situation appears, the alarm rings even faster, stronger, louder. This is the invisible loop that traps millions of people. Fear, escape, relief, stronger fear. Again, and again, and again. Let's return to Daniel from earlier, the man outside the meeting room. Imagine he decides to avoid presenting. He sends someone else in his place. Instant relief. The anxiety disappears, but his brain quietly records the lesson. Presentations are dangerous. Avoid them. The next time he faces a similar situation, the alarm rings even faster. His world shrinks slightly. Not overnight, but slowly, like a room whose walls move inward a few inches every day.
Chapter 4. The Illusion of Control. Now here's where things become even more fascinating. Because when fear grows, the mind tries to regain control. It invents strategies, little rituals, small rules designed to keep danger away. Maybe someone constantly checks their pulse to make sure their heart is normal. Maybe they sit near the exit in every theater. Maybe they rehearse conversations in their head 100 times before speaking. On the surface, these behaviors seem logical, protective, even responsible. But underneath, something else is happening. Imagine you're crossing a bridge every day. The first time, you feel nervous, so you hold the railing tightly. Nothing bad happens. The next day, you cross again, but now you must hold the railing, because your brain thinks that's what kept you safe. Soon, you refuse to cross the bridge without gripping it. Then you start wondering, what if the railing breaks? Now the fear has grown again. This is the illusion of control. The mind creates safety rituals, but those rituals quietly confirm the belief that danger is real. A person who constantly checks their health becomes more convinced something is wrong. Someone who rehearses every conversation becomes more afraid of speaking naturally. The attempt to control fear strengthens it. It's like trying to smooth water with your hands. The more you move, the more ripples appear. And the tragic part? Most people never realize they're doing it. They believe their strategies are helping, but in reality, those strategies are the fuel feeding the fire. Fear doesn't just live in the big dramatic moments. It hides in tiny habits, small avoidances, quiet reassurances. And over time, those habits become a lifestyle. But here is the turning point, because once you understand this pattern, once you truly see the loop, you begin to notice something strange, something almost shocking. The things we believe keep us safe may actually be the reason fear refuses to leave. And in the final part of this journey, we're going to uncover a realization so powerful that it has helped people dismantle years, sometimes decades of anxiety. A realization that turns the entire idea of fear upside down. Because the greatest secret about fear is this: the moment you stop running from it, something completely unexpected begins to happen. So here it is, the realization that changes everything. Fear is powerful, but it has one critical weakness. It cannot survive direct experience. Fear feeds on imagination, on prediction, on what if. But reality? Reality often dissolves it. Think about the first time you stood at the edge of a cold swimming pool. Your mind screamed, "It will be unbearable." Your body hesitated. Every instinct said, "Don't jump." But then you did. For a few seconds, the cold shocked your skin. Your breath caught. And then something surprising happened. Your body adapted. The water stopped feeling unbearable. The fear faded. Not because you thought differently, because you experienced it. This is the first secret. Fear weakens when we move toward it, not away. Chapter 5. The Courage Experiment. Let's go back to Sarah, the woman sitting in her car outside the supermarket. For months, she avoided walking inside. But one day, she decided to try something different. Not something heroic, not something dramatic, just a small experiment. She stepped out of the car. Her heart pounded instantly. Her mind whispered, "This is a mistake." But she kept walking. 10 steps, 15, 20. Her breathing quickened. Her hands trembled. And then she reached the entrance. Every instinct told her to turn around, but instead she paused. She stood there and waited. Something strange happened. The fear surged, then slowly plateaued. Her heart didn't explode. She didn't faint. The world didn't collapse. The anxiety peaked and then began to drop. This moment is crucial because it teaches the brain a completely new lesson. The danger never arrived. The brain updates its prediction. Next time, the fear is slightly weaker, not gone, but weaker. And with every repetition, the fear loses authority. This process has a simple name: exposure. Not reckless exposure, not throwing yourself into chaos, but gradual, deliberate encounters with fear. Step by step, moment by moment, like turning down the volume of an alarm that once screamed constantly. Chapter 6. Rewriting the Fear System. Now imagine this process repeated. Daniel gives the presentation. His voice shakes at first, but he survives. Next month, he speaks again, still nervous, but stronger. A year later, he's presenting to a room twice the size. What changed? Not the situation, the brain. Because the brain is not fixed, it learns. Every experience rewires the system. Every moment of courage redraws the map. Fear begins to shrink. Confidence begins to grow. Not because the person became fearless, but because they stopped treating fear as a command. Fear became just a signal, and signals can be ignored.
The 3-step plan you can start today. If you're listening to this right now and thinking, "This sounds powerful, but where do I start?" Start here. Step 1. Name the fear. Write it down. Be precise. Not "I'm anxious," but "I'm afraid of speaking in meetings. I'm afraid of crowded places. I'm afraid of making mistakes." Fear hates clarity. The moment you name it, it becomes something you can face. Step 2. Create the smallest challenge, not the biggest, the smallest. If public speaking terrifies you, start by asking one question in a meeting. If crowded places scare you, spend 5 minutes in a busy cafe. Small victories rewire the brain. Tiny steps build unstoppable momentum. Step 3. Stay until the fear drops. This is the most important step. Do not escape immediately. Let the anxiety rise, let it peak, then watch it fall. Because when your brain sees the fear fade without escape, it learns the ultimate lesson. You were safe all along. Outro. The silent truth about fear. Fear will always exist. It's part of being human. It sharpens us, protects us, keeps us aware, but it was never meant to be a prison. The walls of that prison are invisible. They're built from avoidance, from imagination, from stories we repeat inside our minds. But every wall has a weakness. One step of courage, one moment of facing what we once avoided, and suddenly a crack appears. Another step, another experience, the crack widens, light begins to enter.
until one day you look around and realize the cage was never locked. It was only waiting for you to walk through the door. Fear doesn't disappear because life becomes safe. Fear loses power because you become stronger. And that is the quiet transformation this journey offers. Not a life without fear, but a life where fear no longer decides your path. If this message resonated with you, take a moment, subscribe to the channel for more deep explorations into psychology, books, and the hidden patterns of the human mind. And I want to ask you something in the comments. What is one fear you've been avoiding that you might finally face this week? Sometimes the first step is simply saying it out loud. And sometimes that's exactly where freedom begins.